So one of the many great and generous people I've met here, this guy from the US who used to work on diesel motors, and he's been very generous with his time helping me out. And he knows I'm waiting for the mechanic to come, so he did some research and he's very confident that we can do the remaining work ourselves. So between the two of us, hopefully we can be one diesel mechanic. So I'm gonna start the work myself. The main thing is I need to fix the raw water pump because it spews salt water everywhere, which is a corrosion issue and can destroy the bearings, yada yada yada. No good. 2, the heat exchanger tube stack. The previous owner told me that it has issues in it, which again, that separates salt water from the internal coolant. And if those mix, you start getting corrosion, yada yada yada, no good. So I think I have all the components I need to do both of those. I just don't know how to do them. So he's gonna sort of step through it with me, tell me how it's done. So first things first, I'm gonna try to take off the raw water pump. This is the raw water pump I need to remove. It should be as simple as removing 4 bolts and then popping it out. But I have a feeling this guy is gonna be a struggle. As one might expect, I ran into issues with the pump yesterday. It's just so old and corroded. I ended up having to buy another one, or rather, I found the right guy here who had a spare sitting around. Unfortunately, the bolts were just gone, or I almost couldn't get it off because the bolts were just falling apart. So I got new bolts, but nobody has studs because studs came out I got new nuts, and the nuts go on a stud, and the stud came out as well. That's pretty nasty. But nobody has studs to replace it. But I did find just a piece of wire, not wire, but like, I guess you make studs out of this. And I gotta figure out how to make it the right size, because this isn't as big as the stud that goes in the engine. It's very small. I guess I just saw it or something? I don't know. Work smart, not hard. I paid someone a few bucks at the local boatyard machine shop to cut them for me. Much simpler than me trying to figure it out. Oh my god. I'm so angry. I was putting this on and it sheared right off. There's an episode of The Simpsons where Bart gets into an exchange program to go to France. And it sounds like this really wonderful thing. And then once he gets there, he realizes that it's a trick by a winery to get a cheap child labor. And he's all depressed, and finally he escapes the winery. And he doesn't know what to do because nobody in France speaks English. And then all of a sudden he realizes that now he's picked up French just by working at the winery.
I'm so stupid. Anybody could have learned this dumb language by now. Here I've listened to nothing but French for the past 2 mois. Et je ne sais pas un mot. Eh! Mais je parle français maintenant. Incroyable!
And he gets help, he's all excited, makes it back home. And that is how I felt Saturday. After I was really bummed about how I broke the fixture, I realized that after all this, I knew exactly how to get it out and what I had to do. And I didn't necessarily have the tools to do it, but I knew that it was solvable and what could be done. So today, got the fixture out for me, and then I went and I bought 2 new ones, and now I got them on there, and I can start installing this new pump. There's the new pump in. I also redid the hoses going to it and coming out of it. I also changed the filter on the Raycor. These wires came apart. I think this one goes here and that one there. I don't know how they came apart, but I'm gonna replace them with these, which clip together, easy peasy. That should be better. Done. And I did them opposites, so this one goes into that one, and this one goes into that one, so you can't mess it up. Although if I ever replace this, I have no idea which side's positive, which side's negative, or anything like that. But it's okay. Next project is installing my chart plotter. I think it's gonna go here. There was this thing there before. I don't know what it was. I don't care. I think it's gonna go here. I gotta fill in these holes with some silicone to make sure they don't leak. And then I'll have my chart plotter. I also have that radar I can hook into the chart plotter, which I don't know exactly how that's gonna go yet, but I'm gonna worry about that a little bit later because I gotta run some wires for that. First, chart plotter. It's in. I need to set up some stuff so my instruments go through it and AIS and all that, but at least it shows where I am on a chart, so I can use it instead of my iPad for chart plotting. Great success. 2 days mission, if I choose to accept it, is I want to replace this block and tackle with this one. This is a 6-to-1 ratio where the other one is 4-to-1. So it'll give me a little bit more power, and that's the side that I put my engine on, which is much the heavier side, of course. So I want to make it as easy as possible. So it took me a while to figure out, well, with help, exactly how all these go together to work, because I don't know, it's weird. It's not done the way, just in a straightforward way. So I've got it, I've got to put it on there, I've got tons of rope, and let's see what happens once it's on there. I'm hoping it's a lot easier to pull the dinghy up. Good thing I'm replacing this, because if you look here, this is just a screw. I don't trust that. The one I'm gonna have is a proper shackle. Well, there we go. It's on there. I've got to cut this line now to the right length because I bought a ton. Because eventually I'm gonna replace the line on this one. The only thing I don't like about this line is it's a little slippery. I don't know if it has to just break in or not, but it kind of isn't fun to pull. But it's first use. We'll see what happens after a little while. And then I can always buy a new line if I don't like it. I replaced the lines on both. So the engine side has a 6-to-1 ratio set of block and tackle, and then the non-engine side, the bow, has just the old block and tackle. But because I replaced the lines, they're a lot longer, and so now I can do this. I can use the winch, both winches actually, to pull up the engine. I shouldn't really need to do this, but for example, let's say I get injured and I have somebody else on the boat that isn't as strong. They can do this and pull it up, and it takes a long time, but it's super easy. Takes forever, but it works. Ta-da! The only thing I have left is this line is way too long, so I'm gonna have to trim that down. But I can do that later. I'm pretty happy with what I've got right now. The next project is my bilge pump. So the bilge is basically the bottom part of the boat. On mine, it's pretty deep. It's at the bottom of the keel here. And you can see there's some stuff in there. It's because I want to pump it out. And a bilge pump is a pump to pump out anything in the bilge. If you have any water ingress, it's going to flow to the bottom of the bilge. So that's why you need bilge pumps. Now this is a manual one, and its diaphragm is broke, so I bought a new one, and I want to replace that. This does 17.5 gallons per minute. That's pretty good. So it's high flow rate. It's pretty nice. I also bought new hoses for it. Now I also need to replace the electric one, which mine recently stopped working particularly well. So I'm gonna do this as well, but requires some circuitry work that I need to figure out, or some wiring work I should say, because you want it connected to an automatic switch, so once it senses that the bilge level goes up, it automatically goes off. So I gotta figure out some wiring. It's not hard, I just have to do it. But replacing this guy right now should be a lot easier. Now I'm hoping I can reuse the hose. We'll see. I'm not entirely confident because this seems to be jury-rigged a little bit, but it's the hope. First I gotta pull this off and then I'll see what I can do. As all boat projects, this bilge pump change is taking way longer than expected. Oh, I got a haircut, by the way. So the main issue is these fittings on the bilge pump are 1.5 inches. However, this hole in this pipe is 1.25 inches, so it doesn't fit. That explains this little adapter. And what's even more frustrating is the previous bilge pump was the same fitting size as the one I have now. So whoever installed it, either they're dealing with the same thing I did, where the previous bilge pump was 1.25 inch fittings, and then they installed an 1.5 inch fitting bilge pump, or they just installed the 1.25 inch pipe, not realizing they had an 1.5 inch bilge pump, and they just dealt with it. But what's annoying is all the holes that the wire that the tubing goes through is 1.25 inch, so I can't just put the proper sized wire in it without doing a bunch of work. And so I can't really install the bilge pump where it is right now, just because it doesn't fit, and the tube's hard to work with, and it's just a mess. So I'm thinking of moving it to here. So I'd have to open this up and then pump it. That'll be easier to work with. And I just need to make sure I can get access to the bilge from here, which I think I can. I think I'm gonna put it here. A lot more room to work with. It's annoying I can't put it where it was before, because it's actually like a really good spot for it, but I think this is an equally okay spot. So then I need to go and now buy a bunch of more stuff to try to get it to fit. Additionally, I'm trying to do the electric bilge pump, and I'm running into tubing size issues as well. So just tubing issues all over the place. So I have a ton of tube. Some of it fits, some of it doesn't. I'm hoping today to have these done. At least I want one of the bilge pumps working so I can empty the bilge. But it's frustrating. It's a boat project. I hope if I ever sell this boat, the person after it thinks I did a good job rather than just leaving them with a hot mess. I think I did. I'm doing a good job though. With Troy's help, we got it installed in the same spot. This is gonna go eventually. This can be, it's a little flat there, but it's okay. This is the old one. Ended up installing actually brand new one. Brand new on both sides. And the trick was I had to drill out a little bit more space here in 2 spots. And it went fine. And already pulled some stuff out of the bilge. Success.